Boom, episode 69. What's going on? We're back. I got a special guest today, a buddy of mine, Eddie Martinez.
What's up, man?
What's going on, brother? Thanks for coming on, man.
No problem, man.
Yeah.
Stoked to be here. Kidding right now?
Yeah, bro. I've been fucking around over here. Wanted to have you on, bro. We had talked about it like recently, and then we bumped into each other at an opportunity, like at an audition and stuff. And it's just kind of crazy. I like to get inside of people's their journey and kind of like what it's been like, because it's kind of crazy, bro, out here. You know what I mean? Like, how long you been in the business now?
Oh man, it's been a minute. I don't know, long. More than 10 years now, man. I guess like professional, like getting paid,
yeah.
like 10 years, yeah.
See what I'm saying, bro? And in 10 years, a lot of shit happens.
Yeah, man.
You got little ones too, right?
I got 3 kids.
Damn,
yeah.
3 kids. How old are they?
14, 11, and 6.
Damn, that's gotta change the game too, bro. And you got a teenager too, straight up.
Yeah, I know. That's I'm walking some new paths now with that. Like I didn't think I was gonna be here that quick already. But like,
yeah,
when they say that shit, like time flies,
yeah.
man. You don't notice it until you have kids. It's like it does.
It's kind of crazy. They put it in perspective when you look at time. You know what I mean? And then that's got to be a weird thing too, to jump in professionally, like as an artist, having kids. You know what I mean? I'll keep this shit right here. Boom. Yeah. Having kids, right? That's got to be like a weird leap to take. You know?
Yeah, a lot of my boys ask me that, like, like my actor friends. It was like, oh, how was it having kids and doing this, man? It must have been hard. Like, how did you do that?
Not necessarily hard. It probably drives you, right?
Well, that's how it did for me. Like, I think it focused me more. Like, we had kids. I met my wife in college and we got married young.
Yeah.
And we started having kids like young.
Ain't waste no time, honey.
No, like we didn't. And I think it kind of like focused me more. Instead of wasting the little bit of money that we had on going to the clubs and shit like that, everything was more like it's either like for my career or by that time in school. It's all about school or the kids, school. So there was no time to go out and shit. Well, I started going. I'm from New York, so I started going to school for criminal justice. I was gonna be a lawyer. Yeah, that was my plan. I was gonna be I was in the Marines.
Master plan, bro.
Yeah. And I was in the Marine Reserves back then. So my plan was I was gonna go be like a lawyer in the Marines, like Tom Cruise in A Few Good Men. Yeah. But then I did a fucking play and fucked up all my plans.
You're like, damn it, I fell in love with this thing. I was like, what is this? You got the bug.
Yeah, I did.
What'd you do a play with? Like, where was that from? Like, what?
Well, the short story, I auditioned for the school play freshman year of college, and the dude gave me the lead part. And after that,
had you done anything before that?
No. But it was because, all right. So we the speech class. You know, in speech class, how you have the requirement. That so in speech class,
general eds.
Right, so the speech class was like, you're gonna do 3 final speeches, and those are gonna be graded for your final grade. And so I'm really shy. I was even more shy back then. I was like, what, public? I gotta do 3 speeches, and it's gonna count.
Class, right?
It's gonna count. I was like, I'm gonna fail this fucking class. I was like, yeah. But then she was like, but if you go and audition for the speech and theater play that this semester, I'll give you 5 points on your final grade just for auditioning, and 10 points if you get any part in the play. So then I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna need all the help I get. So I was like, I'm gonna go audition for this fucking play. And then I went and I auditioned, and I got the lead role. I was the lead, and then after that it was over. After that I became friends with the director. That was one of my professors. He was the best man in my wedding.
What?
Like, we became cool. Yeah. After
so he
that,
became a big part of your life.
Obviously. Yeah, because of him, I started. He opened me up to a whole new world. Because he had a theater company too that he would run, and so he hired me in that theater company.
After that play.
After the play, yeah.
Oh no.
And then after that, like I changed majors, changed schools, and everything changed. Because that one play.
What did your family say or anything like that?
Well, now they're cool, especially like Latino families.
Yeah.
Like, I have a little stepsister she's 19 now, but I didn't grow up with her. Like, I didn't know about her till later. So I grew up with a brother and a sister that are much older than me. I was the baby of the family. So my sister was always very supportive, right? My brother was, doing his own thing, and he's just always there when you need him.
Yeah.
But he's But my mom was the one who was like, no, acting, theater, that's a hobby. That should be a hobby.
They're trying to
you were gonna go be a lawyer.
They're putting their own fears on you.
Yeah, they're like, no, why are you doing that? No, this. So she wasn't until she saw me on the first thing, and then she was like, "Ay, mijo, you're just like me. I always wanted to be an artist." And I'm like, "You don't remember, huh?" She was like, "No, I always supported you."
It's fear, bro. It's fear. A lot of times, I feel like, because they're just like, oh, it's such a cutthroat industry, and they're like, no, don't do that. Lawyers, it's the safer route. Like everybody's kind of like projecting their own life fears of what they wanted to do, but what stopped them onto you. Sometimes, like it's our own choice to be like, yo, I'm not gonna let that affect me. That's what happened to you. This is what's gonna happen to me. You can write your own journey, so to speak. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, man. But like, I think you also carry their things with you.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like,
a little bit, you feel it.
Yeah, like looking back now, like I think when you live through it, I or at least me, I didn't notice all the hang-ups and shit that I have, all the daddy issues that I had. Like I never thought that. But now looking back at my life, I'm like, that shit makes sense. I was carrying all their insecurity. I learned all that shit from them.
Yeah, it's learned behavior.
Yeah, because it took me a long time to be like, I could do this. Even after I changed my majors, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, man,
I think that's the biggest struggle. That's the biggest struggle, like accepting
that it's a possibility,
that it's yours and you're supposed to be there.
Yeah,
because I mean, of course, I feel like a lot of times, I mean, I'm much better at it now, but even in the beginning, I was just kind of like, damn, did they make a mistake? You know what I mean? Like your first few bookings, you're like, shit, like they booked me, and and you kind of like, even before, like you don't really, for whatever reason, people have kind of like put their fears on you, and you've learned that that's not possible, and then when you're there, you're like, holy fuck, like, you know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, exactly, man. I mean, look, just in the beginning, I used to think in my head, I was like, acting? I was like, are you really gonna do this? When I was like really contemplating.
Yeah. How old were you think?
I was in 20 something, I don't know,
Same.
22 maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, something like, when I was thinking I was gonna change majors, or I was gonna transfer schools. I was like, I like had this. I was like, are you really gonna do this? I was like, acting. I was like, that's for fucking pretty white people, like for fucking models. You're not a model.
It was like, at the time, kind of,
But I'm sitting and I'm like thinking about it. I was like, why did I have that in my head? And it was like my whole family, like Latinos, like you're not the galan because you're not tall, white, with the blue green eyes, and that's what they think. It's like. But that shit is in me too.
Yeah,
like I believed that for a long time.
100%.
Still,
100%, and it affects your confidence. And then I feel like a lot of the content being produced now too is helping people because that's how you change, right? Like the little kids that are gonna see us in movies or in TV and film, they see themselves represented in a way, so it's a big possibility. And there's a lot more ways to get content now. You know what I mean? There's a million fucking platforms out there now. There's a Netflix and the Hulu's and the Amazon. It's not just a few channels that are kind of controlling how many TV shows. Now there's so many streams.
But I think you're absolutely right, man. I think that's gonna matter for like the next gen, like for my kids' generation, because they're seeing people like them be more than just like the servant, or they're gonna start seeing that being more than just
And then imagine the type of art that's gonna be produced by a culture that's been held down for so long, you know what I mean? Like,
I think it already is. I think
definitely. It's starting
like,
already.
Like Jane the Virgin with Gina, man. Rafa is already there, like as a writer.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like we need more, like in the behind the.
Because then the story is being represented truthfully.
Yeah, a little bit more authentic.
on both sides. You know what I mean? I still feel like of course there's a long ways to go, but man, it's
I think
exciting
it's just
time.
starting. I think it's just starting. So,
exactly. So. It's an exciting time, and it's weird. I feel like for a long time too, even when I started, like I was so focused on, just booking and doing this and doing that, and now I feel like it's taken me such a long time. We were having a conversation about this the other day of just like me really becoming the best version of myself and having that, be represented in my career as well. If that makes any sense. Like you just kind of got to conquer your own demons. And the better you get at conquering your own demons, the better it helps you be free in your art, if that makes any sense.
Well, I mean, I think definitely for artists, but just in any profession, as you grow as a person, oh, your light went off.
No, it's the monitor. It's just, you got to move a little thing. There it is.
So I think as you grow as a person, like in your personal life, your work also changes.
Yeah.
And your art, if you're an artist, reflects that. So I mean, personally, I think I'm so much more comfortable in my skin now. So much more like not that fake cockiness that I had before. Like but like more like confident. That I think has definitely helped me like have a bigger understanding or awareness of why I'm doing this and why and why I've been doing it and where I want to go.
Yeah, and I mean, what are some of the things that you do to like help you keep you grounded? I mean, we've talked about like meditation, right, being some of them that kind of like help ground you in a sense of that's a lot of where the confidence comes from too. You know what I mean? Like you almost kind of view yourself externally, and you start to judge yourself. If that makes any sense, like you look at yourself and be like, where can I, what's to be fixed or whatever, and when you're not being when you're not observing yourself and just simply being the observer, I feel like there's a lot more confidence and peace. And I feel like the more...
I know, if you could just stay there. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the fucking... The paradox was trying to go there and just trying to stay there,
Right, yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know how to answer your question because I think I'm in it's an ongoing progress.
Of course.
Process.
Yeah, but what's helped you get to this point? Is what I'm getting at.
I mean, I think there's so many things. Like, there's so many like what people would call like bad things. Yeah. That I think needed to happen to get me to do certain other things. Like a simple example, like my knees, right? Yeah. My knee, I got bad knees, right? Yeah. And I do this thing called capoeira, right? So that just messed up my knees even more.
Capoeira is like
this Brazilian
martial art, and it's very.
People think it's a dance. People think it's a dance, but my master would say it's both. It's a dance and a fight.
Yeah, you could also get knocked the fuck out in that dance.
Yeah. but it's with music and it's very.
There was a couple cool movies in the early '90s that they made about it.
Yeah, that's how I found out about it. The first time I found out about it.
You did a film about it too, right?
Yeah, we did a little short film that's based on a feature script.
Oh, beautiful.
And that's what I've been working on that for a minute now.
So it's a lot of like, for those of you who don't know, it's a lot of like flipping and kind of turning, right?
It's a lot of kicking and spinning,
aerial movements, so almost like
acrobatics,
breakdancing type shit, almost in a way, but also like throwing kicks for real,
Yeah, well, it is. It's definitely you could call it sparring, but when the games get when the mestres, when the people that are really good, when they play the way they play, like I've seen some people get knocked out.
Yeah, because there's a small margin for error.
Because you're really trying to kick the other person. Like you're trying to, you know, your job is to trying to get them, and their job is to just get away. And sometimes they don't get away. And this whole.
But that affects you though, like your knees are a fucking giant component of that. If you're gonna be flipping in the air trying to kick somebody's head off.
Yeah, well, I think my knees was because I was young and I just would always work out and start doing shit. Like I would just start playing, start doing backflips without stretching, or just running without. Yeah. So I just didn't take care of my body properly when I was young.
Not knowing. Same here.
But because of that, when it got to the point where it was like, now my hips are hurting and I can't do certain movement because of my knees, I started researching and looking, what can I do to, outside the surgery, what can I do for my knee?
And I don't want to get cut open.
Yeah, and the best thing was that's how I found out about yoga and stretching, and I learned all this thing about
you do yoga every week or
yeah, almost every day. Well,
really?
I mean, I don't go to a yoga class. I every Sunday, there's a Bikram class that I like to go to. Yeah, so it'd be like once a week.
Where do you go?
Well, I live in Long Beach, man.
Oh,
so it's all the way.
So
it's all the way down there.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's cool, man.
Dude, people give me shit about it and like, no, you're crazy. It's torture. I'm like, there's something to that shit, man. Like, I feel like
releases, like you release,
and it's also like a hyper focus, bro, because you're in a hot ass fucking room trying to hold this pose, and if you don't really focus, like, you're gonna suffer a lot more than you need to if you focus on your breath and like calm down and consciously calm yourself down.
And you start to become really aware of your body,
dude.
Like I know it sounds weird, but like, or every little muscle is like, oh, that's funny. Like, why can't my muscle move, or why can't I?
Why is this? Or when you're doing each movement on each side, right? You do one movement on one side.
One side is better than the other.
Yeah, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, my hip is not right. I swivel a lot better on the other one, and you hear pops and this. And also, like, I feel like even now, I'm always stretching now. Like,
and that's so good, man.
Because you don't realize how much in bad posture you are. So I'm always cracking my neck, and I'm always like rolling my shoulders, and like, because man, I'm just like, I don't want to be 80 years old. I mean, you've seen like the person that kind of just put it out their whole life, and they're fucking crossing the street, they're hunchback, and they're in a wheelchair, and their whole body's falling apart. And a lot of times, people just stop giving a fuck, you know. But yoga, I don't know, man. It helps my balance and my mental. I don't know, what does it do for you?
But exactly that. Like it's a. Remember when we were talking about that when I go to Joshua Tree, I feel like it's hitting a reset.
Yeah.
When I meditate, it's the same thing with that, right? It's the same, and
it's like a baby dose of shrooms.
Yeah,
You know?
almost, yeah, a little bit, yeah. Because I mean, sometimes, you know, I'm still in my head. I still go in my ego, like when there's a bunch of girls and there's one dude, I'm like, oh shit, all right, I can't be less flexible than that one dude. And so then I don't feel zen. I feel like, oh, what? He could do that and I can't do it. What the fuck?
Yeah. But a lot of times that also, I've always said, talk about the balance, right? Because that'll serve you, that competitive nature, right? That are like, oh, I gotta do here, I gotta do that. It'll
didn't serve me for that.
But not in yoga, right? It'll serve you in other aspects, but sometimes it'll hinder you. Like in yoga, that ain't gonna do you no good, man. It's just about figuring out how to do it the best way for you right now.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes. I think this is I think people not in touch with their feelings enough.
Yeah, bro.
And my friends, I told you, my friends think that I'm a softie. They think that I do weird shit.
Same here, bro.
And they always say the same shit, but I think so. Like I think I like talking about my feelings a lot because when I was little, they didn't talk about my feelings, and I think it's all there, man.
Yeah.
When you're like aware of what you're feeling and how you're feeling, and you're able to express it, that shit just makes you
lighter, bro.
Better, yes.
Lighter.
It feels more
you
happy.
with your chest out a little more and shit. You're kind of a little more like present. You're more like, fuck yeah, like I'm good. Even though I felt that and I told you I felt that, I feel so much fucking better because I'm here now and I'm over that shit and I got it off my plate.
Oh, for me, like talking about it, like with my wife, like
Yeah.
when I like talk about it, it makes me realize, oh, you're right, I am being an asshole. Yes. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. But if I wasn't able to, like, you know, to like really, then I'd still be fucking defending my point instead of seeing, like, you know,
the whole thing for what it is. Yeah.
No.
And we'll make up stories. I mean, I it's really training your brain because I'll make up arguments, right? You know, I've talked about this before. Like, you'll make up an argument with somebody, like, what if this motherfucker said this? And then I would say this. And I was, you know what I'm saying? We've all done that, bro. You know, you
have the argument in your head.
All planned out, bro. And you get there and they're like, hey. And you're like, oh, you're not mad? Oh, we're not going to fight. Okay.
Or it goes completely like a different way.
Different. And you've just created this monster. And I feel like a lot of that, we do that with everything, right? We do that with our life habits.
I recently did that. I was auditioning, right? And I had met the showrunner for this thing that I was auditioning at a party, right?
Yeah.
And I thought we had connected, you know, like, cause, you know, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna go audition for her. Yeah, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I met you at this. Remember? Yeah, what's up? Yeah, this. Well, I walk in there, man. She was like, oh hey, hi, nice to meet you. Okay, so we're gonna do it like this. She didn't remember me at all, man. She nothing. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And so everything that I had planned in my head was like nothing. It was out there.
A lot of times we need that too because you know, I feel like a lot of that is the universe trying to correct us. Like, hey man, your focus is in the wrong place right now.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. A lot of times that happens. I don't know. It's hard not to though in this business. It's so in any business. I feel like in any business that you're going in your own venture where you're not playing it safe. You know, where you're really like, yo, let's figure this shit out. And I feel like we were talking about you know, plant medicines and really how they've, you know, helped with all this shit, with the journey as an artist, with like, you know, the development of yourself, like how to become a best version. I feel like, you know, a lot of things are not talked about, especially in minority communities. They're not talked about. They should be talked about. And the more we talk about them, the faster we can get to solutions. You know what I mean? Instead of putting a stigma on it. You know, I'm being like, oh, these emotions are strong, and no, put that down and do this, and we can't talk about this.
Are so they're so ingrained,
man,
in our community, in our culture.
But it's also there's murder happening. You know what I mean? There's a lot of hurt people. Hurt people. That's just the way it's always been, you know. And I feel like a lot of people need to sometimes be forced, and I feel like that's why when I was telling you like ayahuasca experiences or much, and I don't recommend it for everybody because you know there's a lot of people that have a lot of work to do.
No, I think you need to be there. I think you need to like at least
Yeah.
have that curiosity
Exactly.
there.
And
if you don't
also
have it
have
there,
done work before that, you know. I don't think you could just jump into something like to be forced. I think, but even jumping into one like you knowing enough that you don't know about something and like jumping into it, I feel you know, you have to be in a certain mentality for it too. It's not a fix-all pill. It's more of a you're aware pill, if it makes any sense.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
I mean, the first time that I did ayahuasca in Peru, bro, like I didn't know anything about it. Like I had no idea of all that stuff that I had read. Like I hadn't read anything.
There's nothing you can read that'll fucking really give you the full experience.
Yeah, not even explaining it. When people ask me, look,
Nope.
so what did you? It's like I can't
no
even
way.
explain it.
There's no words.
Like I hear myself what I'm saying. And I was like, yeah, that's what I saw, but I'm not explaining it with what I experienced. Like it's
I'm
nothing.
limited here,
Yeah,
man. I'm using
yeah.
this fucking body.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta tell you with my voice, and this is beyond my body. This is beyond my human form. I can't explain it to you.
Yeah, it's like above mind. So language is a mind concept, which I guess makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why you're not able to explain things. I think that's why people made God or religion. I don't want to get into that.
No, you can meet God and religion. What do you mean?
Like that's why they made it into a hymn, and because I think like God is this energy, this thing that's like it's beyond the mind concept that you can't put it into words, you can't explain it, and so certain groups, institutions hijacked that and gave it a label.
I agree because
because
in a lot of
the
ways,
patriarch.
In a lot of ways, it serves people, right? Because it's a certain way to shape your morals and ethics of a society and how to behave and how to really pass down things that are more palatable. You know what I mean? Something that's easier to ingest, a story of something, and I think because when you really get down to think about it, it's too small. It's too small. These little stories are too small, man. You know what I mean? Like for the vastness of the universe, we're thinking, oh, God is a man. It's like we're talking about the same thing here. We just have different definitions of it and different interpretations of it. It's the same thing. I know we're feeling the same God, but it's not a man. I'll tell you that much. And it's not like you and I. This is merely a fucking speck in the infiniteness of what is the universe.
I mean, I definitely think there's seeds of truth in religion, but I just think just like any other institution, it got hijacked.
Everything.
By the greed of men.
I mean, well, just think
got
about the
passed
game of
down
like,
all this
exact
information.
2,000 years. It's like politicians now. They're changing the way things are said or translated. You think that before they had this level of communication, before they had the internet, you know what I mean? Like, things could so easily be manipulated throughout thousands of years, 2,000 years, you know what I mean? A book or something. Like, that's why there's different versions of the Bible and there's different versions of Christianity, and they're all talking about the same shit, almost. You know what I mean? There's little varying things, but if you really think about it, it's really about, like, the infiniteness, what is God, devoting yourself to be a better person.
We're all connected.
Yeah, we're all connected. We're all one.
And that's what love thy neighbor like you would love yourself.
Yeah,
all that
but it's palatable to put it in 10 Commandments. Here's 10 things. But it's too easy. I think that we've gotten to a point now where we've evolved past that. You know what I mean? That we don't need to restrict our minds, because I feel like that's very limiting. If we accept that as what it is, it limits us into keeping the mind searching and being like, what? Okay, well, it's not that. I'm 100% sure it's not that simple.
I definitely think that's where we're heading. Yeah,
exactly.
I
I'm like, for me, I'm like,
it's
there's a
changing,
book.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a book of everything.
Right.
You can tell me a book explains.
Oh, dude,
it's just
but see, that's another thing that you learn. Like, so my aunt was a Jehovah's Witness, and this was in Texas. So I lived in Texas for like, I don't know, when they first dragged me out of Colombia, I lived in Texas for a few months, right? And we were at my mom. Well, I'm assuming like your family, your mom,
Catholic. I'm very Catholic.
So was she, right? Yeah. And so she was having an argument with this other lady about the Bible, and in her
some fucking Bible beef, bro.
And then remember I told you that since I was little, like I just love talking like people's stories, and instead of playing with the kids, I was there in the middle, being
like, damn, you got a good point there.
Being a chismoso, yeah.
Rosa said some shit about Jesus.
That's funny because her name was Rosa.
That's
funny. Her name was Rosa.
Yo, hey man, that's what I call synchronicity, bro.
But here I am. I'm like 8 or 7. I don't know.
Oh, that's funny.
Right, so I'm like 8 or 7, right? And then I told Rosa, I was like, I'm like trying to like, I'm arguing about, but this doesn't make sense, but this and this and that. And then she says, and I'm like, but who knows? Why are we believing the Bible? Like, why is exactly, bro? It was like, oh,
Oh, he is a son of Satan.
It was like, yeah, and then she said blasphemy. So I'm like, that's what I remember in my head. It was like that you don't question because it's blasphemy. And then my mom was also like, and I was like, oh shit. From then I
said the
okay.
wrong thing.
Like, I was like, this shit doesn't make sense because they even like she even talked about it later. And then I didn't even know. I thought I was like, oh, so Jesus wrote the Bible? And they were like, no, his friends wrote the Bible. And then it was like, no, it wasn't his friends. It was a couple of people years after he died that wrote it. But and I'm like, wait, so it wasn't even his. It was like what?
Some other dude?
Wait, this is the book that what?
We got a messenger's book? 12 of them. They couldn't decide on one? Damn. Yeah. And I get it, bro. I'm the same, bro. I'm just like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. I've always been the same way, bro. Since I've been a kid, where I'm like, when they were telling me this, I was, I grew up super Catholic, but I always had questions, and they were like, hey, Rick, shut the fuck up, huh? Stop asking so many questions. I was always just told that I was just too, I don't know, that I was always searching.
Did you go to Catholic school?
I didn't go to Catholic. I mean, I did my first communion, and then I went to, there's a thing called confirmation you do, and you have to go like 2 years to a school. I did 1 year.
I went to Catholic school.
Yeah,
no
shit.
For like high school and middle school.
Damn.
I was in Catholic school, yeah.
I would have gone nuts. I would have questioned everything, bro. Damn. Were you questioning things then?
I did, but I was awkward, man. I was socially awkward and really shy. So in my head, in religion class, I wouldn't understand why the nuns couldn't get married, and then the reason why they gave it the priest, I was like, okay, well that's the priest, but the nuns are married to Jesus? What? Like there was a lot of stuff that I just couldn't.
You know what's crazy, bro? They say that the priest at one point they could be with people, right? But since they were like the church leader in these towns and shit, they'd be fucking everybody's wives, so they would just be slinging dick.
And then that's why they could.
And then they're like, no, you motherfuckers.
Wow,
like, in the name of Jesus Christ, banging everybody's fucking wife, bro, in the name of religion, and then they ban that shit. And I think maybe I'm crazy. I don't fucking know. This is a crazy subject, but they got all busted, bro. Fucking all these pedophiles in the Catholic Church. That's why I was like, all right, yeah. I'm out. Like, you know what I mean? I don't give a fuck what organization does what. Like, no, that's when for me, I don't know. It was, I was, it's a tough subject, man, because they suppressed these priests' natural sexual nature. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I know that it's fucking crazy that they try to cover all this shit up. And I'm like, man, that's what religion's become. All right, now I know that we're definitely heading in the wrong direction. And if we look at it, bro, our ancestors did. I mean, for me, I just did a DNA test.
That's right. You said you were what, like 80% Maya or something like
39% Mayan. So I'm like, a third of me, and then 24% Spanish. And that's why we all grew up Catholic, right? They were conquered by the Spanish, who were Christians, and we've learned this shit, And I'm like, what? When are we gonna stop living old fucking things? We're living on old ass politics. We're living on old ass religious beliefs. We're living on just old ass shit, and nobody questions anything. And I'm like, what the fuck? Am I the only crazy dude here? You know what I mean? And I'm not. Everybody's questioning it. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And I'm not. Even when I talk to people that are super religious, I try to be respectful.
Yeah.
Because I know that for a lot of people, it does amazing things.
Oh man, politics and religion is like the most like.
It's heated, but I'm like, why is it heated? Because nobody wants to accept that they don't know. And I can accept it. I don't know shit.
That's what I tell my boy all the time, because he's like, oh, so you're just like the religious people. You think you're right, and I'm like, no, I think that is the difference. Is that what I have my beliefs, right? But the thing that I think is, well, shit, I could be wrong. Maybe the rapture is gonna happen. I don't know.
Fucking know.
I mean, I don't think so, but maybe.
But why am I forbidden to talk about the possibility that anything else? You know what I mean?
Oh, yes, exactly.
It's like, okay, well, if God was really all about love and all that shit, he'd get mad at me for questioning? He's the one who made me this smart. What the fuck, man?
No, but according to them, yes, you're not supposed to question. That's the whole thing about faith that you...
And I get what that means now a lot more. I feel like questioning the universe and questioning your own faith is what we can now call resistance in a lot of ways. Like,
so what do you mean though? Like questioning
I feel like
your
if
faith?
whenever, yeah, faith, exactly. And I feel like faith, it was put in that way in Jesus Christ. You never question it in a way where it can become palatable to us, where we can be like, okay, I never question it. I just know things are going to happen. In a lot of ways, that's what people call the law of attraction now, right? Knowing something.
Yeah, I see
and kind of manifesting something and removing the resistance of questioning, like, but the analytical brain is going to jump in, right, and be like, how is this going to happen? How is that going to happen? How's this? And a lot of times that holds you back, and it becomes fear, it becomes anxiety, it becomes a lot of different things, and it can really affect you into getting the thing that you've already created in a mental space. So I think that's where the origin of faith might have come. I could be wrong. Might have come from having people learn that faith is knowing that you're going to be all right. And doing the right thing at the moment and trusting. And in a lot of ways, like people, to wrap their heads around that, they just got to be like, don't question Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? Like, don't question it. Just know that it's going to be all right.
See, I like all that until they say him or the Lord or he. Because I feel like if I would have changed just that one little word and just put it that it's just something that then I mean, I
agree.
I agree.
A lot of things. And a lot of things.
Trust the universe or whatever you want to call it. Things happen for a reason. I agree that there's something greater than us. Yes, but then all this other shit that he and
following weird traditions, and this might turn a lot of people off. I might get a lot of shit for this, but I just feel like why not question everything? What do we have to lose, man? We're here fucking spending time on a spinning rock through the goddamn universe anyway. Why don't we question things? I think that's our jobs as humans. That's how we've gotten this far. You know what I mean? Not by limiting, not by playing it safe and being like, nope, it has to be this, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always go back to balance, I think, but I mean, what the fuck do I know? I don't know. But I just always think, like with anything in life, it's just this living in this little balance thing,
it's
right?
The dance of the fine line.
Yes, trust that everything, but then there's things that you need to fight for that you want to get. Yes, have a dream, a goal, but then you gotta let go, and then it's finding the balance of when to live there. Like,
and you feel you lock in sometimes, right? When you book a big part or something, right? You have like even in in an industry or in whatever, right? You're like, say for work, for example, right? You pick a big part, right? And you get there. That's why it's always easy for me to talk about letting go, because in there you really have to let go of expectation a lot of times of everything. Just kind of walk in there and play, and it's the paradox of letting go, but also like really paying attention to what you're doing and really being focused on what you're doing. Because it's good to have a dream, but you also have to be focused. And you also have to be driven and do things. And I think that's what you're trying to get at. Like what you're saying is like there's action that needs to be done there. Not just
but there's also some trust that needs to be
exactly. And trust. You do the steps necessary that will instill trust within you. If you work hard.
I just wish I was better at recognizing it in the moment. Because
I'm
one of those that it's like hindsight is 20/20, and then you're like, yes. When I look back, I'm like, oh, that's why this happened. This. I just wish I hadn't stressed out in the moment.
Do you feel like it's gotten a millisecond faster every time?
Hell yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. And eventually it's going to line up where you recognize it in the moment.
You know what
I'm saying?
So,
like you recognize it like, oh, like for me, the first time when I started realizing shit, it was like years later. I'm like, oh my God, I was doing what? But now it's like, days later, sometimes in the moment, sometimes weeks later, but you just get better at it little by little, but you're like, oh, I'm pushing here. You know what I mean?
You're right, because just recently in September, right, I went to Colombia to go work. Are we out of time?
No, we're good.
To work on a film, right?
Yeah.
But I could have went for a different job, right? But I wanted this job. I was like, no, I wanna. And the other job had more money, but I was like, no, I want this job.
You followed the art, yeah.
Right. But then for a little bit, I was like, damn, like I should have maybe,
Yeah.
But the movie was fun.
What movie was this?
It's called Kill Chain.
Oh, nice.
I know.
It's not out yet?
No, I just shot. They just finished shooting it in September. It's with Nicolas Cage.
Oh shit,
Ryan Quanten.
Yeah. He's on JJ's show. He did True Blood. He's
the
on
Oath.
The Oath.
Yeah. Really nice dude.
Yeah,
man. Really nice guy.
Yeah, we kicked it. He's a really cool dude.
And you know who? Enrico Constantine. Another cool dude, man. Like you'll recognize his face, man. He's been on I think he's in Veronica Mars now. He's,
interesting.
He was like the alien in Galaxy Quest. Like,
dude, those are some of the fucking coolest parts, man. Those characters and shit. It's pretty tight.
Yeah,
so you got to work with these guys.
Yeah, and it was a great experience and everything, right? But like for like a split second, I was like, damn, I saw who got the other part. It's my boy. And then he's having fun. He's making more money. I'm like, fuck. But then I'm like, I go work on this film that's been a dream of mine. I'm Colombian. We shot in Colombia, and I was like, that was one of my on my vision board, or one of my goals. I want to go work in Colombia, and look, and I got to do it. So I was like, oh,
check that shit off,
right?
And that feels a lot better too. I feel like that has some weight on your shoulders on some level. You know what I mean?
I think so. Yeah.
And it's like, boom, I fucking did that. And that gives you a little extra pump. Even if it's not the money, sometimes it gives you that extra like, yo, I said I would do this shit. I don't give a fuck how long it took me. I did it. You know what I mean? And you're like, boom, you check that shit off your list. And in a lot of ways, you walk with a little more swagger in the world.
I mean, yeah, that's all that. But to me, what the deeper meaning that I got was a conversation that I had with my tia, bro. With my
you went when you were out there?
I was in Colombia, right? And she came to the hotel, and we had lunch together. And I started talking to her, and again, I started asking her all these questions, all this and this.
Curious
and that.
little monkey.
And we were like shooting in this abandoned hospital. And when I told her where we were shooting, apparently she's retired now, but she's a doctor.
Yeah.
And that's the hospital that she used to work on when she was little. Well, not when she was little, when she was
younger. Yeah.
And my brother was born in that hospital.
When you were shooting it.
Yeah, that now it's an abandoned hospital, and they use it as a set and stuff, like for films and this and that.
Dude.
But that was the hospital that she used to work at 40 years ago, and that's the hospital that my brother was born in. And when I was like 3 months, there was this thing where I got sick that I could have died or something like that. Some story.
And you went there?
And I was there, dude. I was like, yeah, it was there in that hospital.
That is one of the trippiest stories.
I was there like, wait, what? And I was like, what are the odds? I mean, well, yeah, I'm Colombian, but like, what that?
You come
like 40 years later, I'd go there
to the same fucking hospital.
Yeah, where when I was sick, almost dying, this is where they took me and shit, and this is where I got better, and this is.
And now you're doing a fucking movie there.
It's like, yeah, it was a little like, oh shit.
It's one of those. What's one of those moments where you kind of feel like you're tripping on DMT?
I guess I was supposed to be here.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like a lot of times those are little ways we get our pat on the back, where it's like those little moments we get from the universe almost. Like,
you're doing good.
Yeah,
you're doing good. Relax.
You're
right where you're supposed to be.
How crazy
Relax.
is this?
Relax.
It's almost like it's got a silly sense of humor too.
Yeah.
It's too coincidental. Like, look, you stupid bitch, you're doing all right. And it's like you're like, oh, I was panicking. Okay, cool. I'm exactly where I need to be.
See, if you could always find that and anything, that's
the key.
That's so relieving, man.
That's the key. That's the key. Yeah, I mean, what was your first ayahuasca experience like, or what even attracted you to it?
Well, I saw it in a movie, dude. I saw it in a movie in La Leaf. So this must have been like
Los Angeles Latino International Film Festival.
Yeah, and this must have been like 08 or 09 or something that. And I can't even remember the name of the movie, but it was a really good movie. And the guy's in Peru. It was a Peruvian movie. Yeah. And he goes out and he takes ayahuasca, and I was like, oh. And then like 2 years later, yeah, because it was like 2011 that I went to Machu Picchu. I was in Cusco, and I remembered, and I asked one of the guides that was going to take us on this trek to Machu Picchu if he knew, and he was like, oh yeah, I know a shaman that does ayahuasca. We'll see if he...
Were you scared at all? Were you apprehensive at all?
A little bit, because my boy flaked. It was me and my boy, and he couldn't do it but I'm glad he didn't do it. His name is Anton Indio.
Anton, you fucked up, bro. You could have changed your life. No, I'm fucking with you, Anton.
Yeah, I'm gonna make him listen now to this. Yeah. That's my traveling buddy, man. I travel with him everywhere.
That's awesome.
And that's the guy that I go with to Joshua Tree.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah,
okay.
He's a good dude. I love that dude. He lives in Hawaii. He's a teacher in Hawaii.
Living in paradise, bro.
Yeah. When I worked in Hawaii 5-0 and
oh, you want to go see him up there?
Yeah, and it was his birthday, dude, and we went
bro.
camping on the beach. He took me to like this where you jump up. Like, Hawaii is so dope. It was and it was such a good time, man.
Beautiful memories you have at this industry's kind of provided for you a lot of times. You know what I mean? Like, you get to go to your hospital where you were,
of course.
You know, you were at as a baby or as a little boy, and then you get to go visit one of your best traveling buddies on an island in paradise on his birthday.
And I get to do what I love, bro. Like that, yeah. Like,
but it's
I know there's a lot of up and downs.
Of course, but it's learning to just almost ride that wave and being like, fuck, sometimes it's down. Right now it's down, or right now it's up, or whatever, and just being cool with whatever it is at that moment. Like, right now it's all right.
That's why I'm always cool with having a side job, man. Like, I quit. I used to work for JetBlue for like 10 years, and that was like a good, steady job. And there was a time where like I moved up like to work in an office, you know. But the point is, after 10 years, I quit, and I was scared as shit. I was like, oh shit, you know. And then like, you know, I got commercials, residual money coming in, and I was like, okay, boom. Good. I don't need. But then you start getting worried about the money getting low, and you're like, oh shit.
It's very weird, bro. It's like a dance you play with money, almost like on a mental level, where like, you know, the more you don't think about it. Like, when I started getting checks, I start getting checks. You know what I mean? I'm not thinking about money, and it's like boom, 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 boom.
I gotta get to that spot more because when you got kids, that's the shit that stresses me out.
Yeah, and that's the difference.
The money's
that's what I mean. Like, and that's what we're going back to faith, bro. How hard is it to keep that shit? You know, because you never really know. You know, and it's like, and especially when you have kids in the factor, it's almost like a video game, bro. You're playing on expert level. You know what I mean?
But that's what I was saying. That's why I don't mind like when people get side gigs, and like I had a side job too, and I was like, I had to quit it but I'll go back if I need. Yeah,
whatever.
I'll go back because it's like, you know,
you still get to do what you want. You know what I mean? And if you gotta do some shit here, boom, I'll do it a little bit, and then boom, I'm back on. It's the industry, man. It's like any art form. And so getting back to that, what was you asked a guide and he took you somewhere. Did you,
so I was a little scared because it was just me. But then I went to the shaman. He took me up in Cusco to up the mountain. They called it the Cave of the Moon or something like that, whatever. And it was like me and 3 other, I guess, tourists, you can say, that I didn't know. And they gave us the whole ceremony thing. Like they did a whole thing. They gave me a bowl. Yeah. A bowl of ayahuasca and drank that thing, and I tripped out. So this was before I started. But maybe I think because of that, I started reading all these books about this and this and all that. And
once that peels that curtain back, and you're like, what the fuck?
You're right.
There's something else over
because that's
here?
when I started to get very, very interesting about that, the Mayans, the 2012 thing, and all. Then I started reading all this stuff about that, about the
Cycles.
Shift change, and and these books about archaeology, and that's at that point I thought I was an atheist, but then when I started reading all these books,
fuck, this guy's studying his culture.
You know what I mean? I used to be in the ramp, like, you know, like where you park the planes. And I used to be reading these crazy books, and they would look at me like, "What the fuck are you reading?" I would go off it with and I would go meditate on the ramp or like on top
like,
of
this guy's
thing.
crazy.
Yeah,
man.
and they're like, "Oh, he's just sleeping. He's fucking sleeping. He's gonna take naps." He's like, and you know, in the beginning, sometimes I'd fall asleep.
Yeah, but you know, it's also a discipline, bro. When you meditate, like redirecting the brain to like back to the breath, back to whatever, and just it's a fucking muscle, bro. You get better at it as you go along. The first times you're not that good at it. Then you get a little better. Then you get a little better. Then you get a little better.
That's kind of the reason why I wanted to do ayahuasca again. That's why I did it again, because that first time, since I wasn't aware of anything,
it's just kind of like, whoa.
I was like what? Like I felt like I was in different dimensions, or in my analytical mind, I was like, this is all the shit that I was hallucinating, right? Like this is what I was talking to little Peruvian kids that weren't there. Yeah. Then I had like some like native guy doing something to my head, like cleaning it, and I thought that it was just one of the guys there playing around. But then when I would open my eyes, there was no one there. Like I felt like I was in that same spot, like just at different times. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Totally
at all.
Makes sense. It's almost like there's infinite timelines, and they're all like happening simultaneously.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but it's a little weird.
And that's what I mean. Like sometimes, a lot of times, you can create whatever the fuck you want, because there's infinite versions of every version of Eddie and every version of Rick.
You say that
that's
because
done everything.
When I'm high and I'm thinking, it's like all the possibilities are there. Right?
They're already there.
The ones like the one where you got the role, the one where you didn't get the role, the one this and that, right?
How do you lock in?
Which one? Yeah, which one are you in? Yeah,
and what's in line with this overall journey that you've carved out for yourself beforehand? You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
You have this overview, because you might be thinking that you need to get this right now, but in reality, to get where you actually want to be, you might hit those doors, you know, and you have to go this other way. Yeah, you know, it's strange, because I feel like a lot of times my biggest lessons have been in the no's that I've gotten, right? Even like as an entertainer, as an artist, as anything, whenever when I wanted something and for whatever reason I didn't do something or whatever, it didn't work out, it's always done me better than when I've actually gotten the part. At least in my mind, because it's
no, I mean, that's
every
a common
time
thing,
I bounce back so much harder. I'm like, fuck you. You're gonna tell me no? I'm gonna show you why you fucked up.
Yo, that's funny. I was just telling my my wife that the other day, that it's funny. Like when people believe in me, it kind of like scares me a little. But when people tell me I can't do something, that makes me want to be like, I'm definitely gonna do. And I start thinking back, a lot of the big decisions that I did in my life was one of the driving forces, which is kind of like made me change that, huh?
When you get these no's, you're like, okay, cool. This is an opportunity for redirection or to redefine how I'm taking my approach.
I heard Jay-Z saying something somewhere like that where he learns more. I think maybe it was with
Yeah. I think I saw that with David Letterman. I think might have
something.
been.
Yeah, that his biggest lessons are from failures, and he wish he can get the same lessons from successes, but that he learns more from failures. And
That's
also Sylvester Stallone, bro.
No shit.
He I forgot where I read it or I heard him saying that he kept going on auditions and he kept getting no, and even somebody told him that he wasn't good looking enough or something like that.
Couldn't talk.
Exactly. But he
had
some
accent. Yeah.
And so because he kept getting denied, that's what made him start writing, because he wanted to write.
It
forces
and he wrote you in the right direction. I feel like a lot of times the universe is trying to correct us, in what we're doing. And I unfortunately, a lot of times I feel like that's where people get trapped, because this happens to me. I forget to listen. I forget to listen to what the universe is telling me. Like when something's going wrong, that means that it's requiring my attention. How come? Most of the time, you know what I mean? There's something there where it's like, oh, well, say for example, I don't know, your car's always breaking down, right? Your car's always breaking down. What does that mean? It means you're not putting enough attention into the maintenance of the car, right? Or you're always sick, right? What your body's trying to show you is like, hey man, you're not fucking living right.
Right.
Put some vitamins. There's some shit. Like there's and the universe is almost, or you're broke all the time, right? You're broke, and it's like, well, hey, put some attention into what you're spending your money on. What are you doing with where are you directing? And a lot of times that's where when we forget to listen, we feel helpless, because you're like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. I'm trapped. And it happens to all of us. We get fucking. Of course, it's scary. You don't know.
I also think about that way with the people in my life, man, my friends. I read in a book, Divine Matrix, and that just one little
Divine
thing.
Matrix.
It's a good book, but this thing always stuck out. This really resonated with me, that like the people in your life are a reflection of yourself, right? So it's like when something bothers you about somebody, it's either that you have that inside of you and you haven't, that's why you judge them, because you have that,
and you can't. It's easier for us to see it in somebody else than it is for us to see it in ourselves.
That's what that person is doing in your life. They're trying to show you what you need to work on yourself. So if you have a lot of negative friends, and it's like, and I'm always my wife is like, she's like my BFF too. Like I always tell her.
That's a hard thing also to lock down. Finding a fucking mate sometimes. Somebody who you just ride with.
I know. I know. I always hear you talking about that. But you had fun, dude. You had fun. Cool.
No, I'm a fucking saint, man.
Honestly, bro, I just got lucky, man.
Yeah.
She's good, man. Like,
that's really what it's about, finding somebody.
Like I still think she's hot, and like I love her, so it's like I can't,
nothing's changed,
and she's just cool, bro. Like if we wasn't fucking,
I've met her a few times,
so like if we weren't fucking, like I would still want to hang out with her.
You're still my friend.
Like I still want,
and we get to bone. We have kids. This is the greatest relationship ever.
No, people always meet. I was like, one of my friends was like, "Is she really that nice all the time?" And I'm like, "Yeah, she is, man. That's a good thing. Yeah, she is. I mean, she calls me out on shit all the time, which is good. Yeah, but she does it in a nice way, which is good.
Yeah, it's hard to do sometimes. To call people out in a nice way. Yeah, man. That makes total sense. Like, because a lot of times I noticed this when I was a young kid. Like, I remember I was always this like boisterous, like happy, like fucking very loud kid, very extroverted as a kid growing up. Like, yo, all right, like fucking walking around and kind of announcing myself.
Were you like a bully? Were you the bully?
I was at a certain point.
How many brothers you got?
I have an older brother, an older sister, and then when I was 12, I had another younger brother be born, and then when I was 25, I had another younger brother be born. But my older brother and my older sister were there, or my older siblings. So up until I was 12, it was just the three of us.
Oh, so you were the baby too?
Yeah,
you were the one. Did they fuck with you? Like,
did they pick on you? Yeah, we hated each other, bro. All our, I don't know why. Now we're like best friends, but back then, it's so strange. Like I would remember as a kid, I would come in and like kind of like make my presence known as a kid, and I'd walk into rooms and be like, all right, like saying whatever, and just to get attention as a kid. And when I'd see another kid do it, I'd be like, I don't like that kid.
Dude, you always wanted to be an actor then. Did you always want to be an actor? Or
no,
music, right? It was music.
It was music
How'd
first.
you get into the drums, bro?
Yeah.
Like, was it school or?
My older brother was he was playing drums, and I saw him playing. I was like, damn, that's the coolest shit ever. And when he wasn't home, I'd sneak behind his drum set and I'd play and shit. And then I signed up when I was in 6th grade into the music program. They're like, damn, it's pretty good. And it got excelled. I excelled in the music program. I stopped getting in trouble. And then like, it was like,
But like, what trouble? Like, what did you do? Like, serious trouble or just like
no, I did some crazy shit. I was a crazy kid. I used to sneak out all the time. I was getting drunk all the time. I was ditching school. I was like smoking weed at like fucking 12 years old, 13 years old, or whatever.
Oh, that is young.
Yeah, I was a kid, bro. And I was going to house parties, and like I was just a crazy kid, for some reason, I don't know, for whatever reason, but ironically, it wasn't really me. I mean, it's weird. My dad got my name from credits in a movie, and then when I was a kid, my mom,
credits in a movie. What movie
or
was
not
you
in
watching?
a movie, in a show. It's called Combat, and the guy's name was Rick Jason, and that's who he was gonna name me, Rick Jason. He ended up just naming me Rick, and then he put his first name, Rick Vicente, and I'm like, that's ironic because I never thought about it, and then. My mom used to have his camcorder, those big ass ones in the 80s.
Yeah, that you throw on the shoulder.
Yeah, bro. Big ass
like,
bazooka, fucking.
yeah.
And she used to film me. She used to give me scenarios. I just love to play pretend. We grew up in South Central in the hood, bro, and it was just the '92 riots were happening and all that shit. And I was just jumping to like I was this little politician, bro. And I'm like, the people need to unite together and like rise against the whatever the fuck. I don't even know what the fuck I was talking, but I would just get on my little pedestal.
That's how my little girl is. My little one. So
beautiful.
There you go. She's
you
gonna be like you.
She's
gonna be like you. She gonna be
bro. You just gotta nurture that. I was lucky to have parents that were like, they were really cool about my creative. Like they were just like, you know what, fuck it. This kid, if we don't let him be creative, he's gonna be crazy. And they kind of like let me. They bought me the drums and they did whatever. I got into this program and I toured and shit. But I didn't get into acting. Just same like you when I was like in my 20s. One day I was.
How?
I was in a band, bro. The band broke up. I was working a corporate job. I was making a bunch of money. I hated it. My girlfriend at the time just dumped me. We were like together for like 5 years. Everything was falling apart. But I had a bunch of money saved up, and I was like, man, I just wanted to, for some shot in the dark, bro. I took an acting class, and I was like, oh man. From that moment, bro, I don't know what the fuck it was. And then from that moment, that's 10 years ago, almost to the day, and it was kind of weird, bro. I don't know. You never really. I just like to take chances. I'm not scared to be wrong. I'm not. It goes back to everything, like religion, politics. I'm not scared to be wrong. You know what I mean? That's why I'm not scared to like chase things that excite me or give them my curiosity, like this podcast. I was just curious about podcasts. You know what I mean? Like,
yo, that's good, man. Because I think that's a lot of people's thing, man. They don't want to be wrong.
That's the ego. Mm-hmm. The ego doesn't want to be wrong. I'm sure you've come across that, realizing that too. Like your second ayahuasca experience, would you realize in that?
I went to like my ancestors, man. I went to and it's funny that we just talked about this. So I felt like I've always had like this chip on my shoulder about like I basically grew up in Astoria, New York, which was like a Greek and Italian neighborhood, right? And I always felt like out of place, I always felt
you're
like
a Latino kid in an Italian neighborhood.
Yeah, and then and I was a little dick too, like I'm not, I think I always had the short man complex, so I was always like,
but it's a survival tactic in those neighborhoods.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I'm just saying, like, like looking back, like it wasn't like all those little kids were really dicks, I was a little dick too.
Yeah. You guys were all being Lord of the Flies, all being.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But I always felt like I was catching up. Like I always felt like in Colombia, like I was in like in a middle class family. Yeah. I had everything perfect.
You weren't quite rich. You weren't kind of poor.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. I didn't. Like I had the father and the mother in the house, and they called him El Jefe, the boss of the. And it was like a nice happy. And then my parents split up, and I got ripped up that way. And all of a sudden, I'm in a little apartment with my brother, and I don't have a mother and a father. All my friends do. They all have money. We're broke. I'm the odd one out. I'm the spick. I didn't even know what a spick was when they were making fun of me.
Is that a good thing?
It was like they used to say, "You're dirty Mexican, dirty little Mexican," and I'm like,
I've never been to Mexico,
and I'm like, yeah, I'm not. But I was like, why is being a Mexican a bad diss? Like I didn't understand why they would think that calling me a Mexican would be a diss. But as I grew up, I realized that even Mexicans don't like. They're like, no, I'm from El Salvador. I'm not from Mexico. Yeah. But now I'm like, but isn't that the same shit?
It's the same shit. To the world, we're all Mexican, bro. Yeah, and so you what do you mean? So you kind of carried that chip on your shoulder throughout your life, and you felt that in your last experience,
right? So in the last, it was kind of like Mama told that it feels like it's something like talking to me, but not in words, but something.
The universe is kind of communicating with you. God,
or like
conversation with God,
or like my higher self.
Yeah,
they call my right?
Yeah, but I feel like that's in another way, in one way or another, that's kind of God speaking through you.
Well, whatever it is, it's something like yes, they do see you like that. Yes, you do have that, but that comes not only just from you, but it comes from, and it was almost like I got shown like a generation of like.
The timeline
of like indigenous people, like in Native Americans, yes, like being colonized, and then how you grow like generations of kids that look like me growing up with this resentment towards the colonizers
because
of everything that they've been abused and this and that, and this that I'm still carrying this like resentment toward, and I'm like, oh,
I do too.
That makes sense, that
the mestizos they call them, right? Mestizos like half,
and
exactly. and you know, and I'm like, even then, like, look at my fucking DNA. It's kind of crazy, like, because I did it on Ancestry.com, and it gives you the explanation and the timeline of your DNA. And it talked about everything what happened in El Salvador and Honduras and Guatemala and the Spaniards coming and colonizing. And I'm 24% Spanish. And I'm just like, damn, like, that means that these dudes were just fucking my ancestors and murdering them and raping them. And, like, you know, and that is, you see it, like you said, like, it makes perfect sense. Generations of just contempt and just anger and resentment and you know, fucking feeling under, I don't know, like the outsider, I guess, still, you know, and still carrying that. And I'm sure that probably helped a lot of our ancestors, but that shit won't help you anymore in a new world, if that makes any sense, because it can hinder you too. Having that chip on your shoulder, it can serve you, but it could also like hinder you in your process, because you also have this fuck you attitude towards the universe. And in a lot of ways, like when you say fuck you to the universe, it says fuck you back.
Yeah, well, again, that's another one that I don't know, dude. I don't know, because I feel like you should never forget where you come from, and you got to fight for this and that, right?
Agreed.
But it's also like, I also have the deep belief that we're all connected, we're all one, and oh man, my wife is going to be like, I can't believe you're talking to this out loud.
This is great, bro. This is all we talk about here on Curious Radio. This is a Thursday afternoon, brother, or a Friday afternoon. This is what we do.
She's gonna be like, you talked about that? I was like, you knew people were gonna.
Listen,
but I also have the belief in like past lifetimes, man. That we've lived thousands of lifetimes. So I think
where we're gonna go.
I mean, I just have that belief, man, and I think
that
in other lifetimes I've been African American, I've been black, I've been Asian, I've been so it's like to hate, like if I'm gonna be like, oh, because I'm a Latino, that I don't like white people, white guys. It's like it just feels like we're all connected. Yeah. It's just the details are different, but the dreams are all the same. Yeah.
You know, sometimes it doesn't matter what color they are, though. It doesn't really. At the end of the day. Everybody, I like to think like people are trying their best. You know, people are trying their best with what they've been given.
Some of them.
Yeah, some of them. But, you know, because we're all the superhero of our own story. You know what I mean? Whether people are doing bad shit in some way, shape, or form, you think, or you're doing this, you know, you're doing your best.
That's what I told a manager once when he said, you're not a leading man, you're a character. And I'm like, what? I'm not a leading man? I was like, who do you think is the leading man in my life story?
Yeah. I'm the head of this bitch, bro.
It's like, I'm the leading man in my life story.
It's a really good movie, bro. Yeah. I was in Peru. Did ayahuasca
like a character. It's like, but isn't everybody a character actor? Like, or isn't everybody?
And I think that's finally ending now. It's so fucking stupid, the era of like leading man of this or that. Yeah. No, I mean, I think these are important things to talk about, because in a lot of ways, you know, it free, because I like to say what everybody's thinking. Everybody's fucking scared, you know, all the time to like say what they're thinking, and I'm like,
but with that you just said, like, I feel like again, a balance. So you need those two. Like I was having this conversation with my dad in Colombia in July, right? So like I feel like I don't have it in me to be like protesting, like, oh, fight for you know, like I'm like.
You have a different approach.
My drive is I want to get inside the system and change it from the inside. You know, like that's how I feel. Like get in the fucked up system and then make the changes from the inside. But you also need people who are out there standing up.
Everybody
and
has
fighting.
their place.
Like you need both.
Yeah,
you can't just force people to change their mind if you're always fighting. But you need that.
I agree, because a lot of those people, some people will say do both or whatever, and it's just like, no, everybody does their own part, right? And those people out there, even if they just go to the march, cool. That's needed, right?
I mean,
and then the people who are like, I'm just gonna get in this motherfucker and change things, change the way I do things. That's enough.
And I would when like this whole thing with the immigration thing with when
that shit tears my heart apart.
you know who Fanny was like setting up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know Fanny. Yeah.
That she was like, let's do a call, this and that. I was like, that thing like really hit me.
Yeah.
Like to
here,
the core that I did. Same. I did call. I was gonna go to her office and do like a phone thing, calling the district or the councilman, the senators or whoever. But
it's weird that it takes that too, man. You know.
But the thing, what I was trying to get is like, I wish I had more like ability to do that. But with 3 kids and all this thing is like, it's like I can't focus there because I gotta take care of this first. But
you can't pour from an empty cup.
But I'm trying to. I'm trying to do my piece as much as I can. But
you got to fill up your cup, and I agree, man. I think that's the big thing too, because a lot of people have destructive lives where they dedicate themselves to a cause, and their own personal lives are fucked up. And I think there's a balance. There's a balance to be there. You know what I mean? There's a balance. You can't pour from an empty cup. You got to fill up your cup and then overflow, and then fucking help other people. But you can't. That's why there's a lot of people that are spiritual, but they're all broke all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a balance in everything. You a lot of times people who are like, oh, I'm a healer, I do this. They help other people heal because they can't do it for themselves. A lot of times, and it's like getting back to like taking care of yourself. You should never feel bad for that and being like, look, I can't. And we shouldn't be accusing people to be like, hey man, you're not doing enough. And if they're clearly not, there's a way to communicate that where you're like, yo, you can help out if you can or not. But in a lot of ways, I think the best approach is to keep your side of the grass, keep your side of the street clean. That's it.
Yeah, right.
At the very least,
take care of yourself. And,
at the very least, keep your side of the street
in your
clean.
circle.
You know what I mean?
Least, yeah,
because that's the most in your control. That's the most how you represent yourself in the day-to-day basis with people, the interactions you have with different people,
with your friends, your close relationships,
what you allow people to behave like around you, what you behave like with people around you. I think a lot, in a lot of ways, that's the best place and the most practical place to start. But to each his own. To each his own.
I think both are needed.
It's time for some hot seat questions. Let's get those hot seat questions, bro. All right, bro.
Hot seat.
Listen.
Oh, this is the part where you gotta answer.
You gotta answer me, bro. Listen.
Okay.
All right, bro. I'm gonna give you a scenario. When you think about your 21-year-old self, you, Eddie, as Eddie Martinez is 21. What are the 3 most prominent inanimate objects in your life? Like, what are you know what I mean? Like, it could be a car. It could be I don't know, a fucking watch. Just 3 objects in your life when you're 21 that are fucking the most prominent. What are they?
Shit. I had a car. I had a little.
Was that one of the most prominent things in your life at the time?
That was like my biggest buy, I think, at the time. That was the first time.
What'd you have?
Like a Kia something, a Kia Sportage, a Kia Sportage with the flat top thing or whatever. Yeah, I wanted a tracker because in high school that was the cool thing. Everyone had a tracker, but I could only afford a Kia Sportage. A Kia Sportage.
Boom. What's the next one?
What did I have? I had a chain that my grandmother gave me.
Was it gold?
No, it was like silver, and it had like the Star of David, and people thought I was Jewish, and I just kept it because she gave it to me when I was like 6 or 5, something like that. Before they dragged me out of Colombia, and that was like the one thing that she gave me.
That's pretty tight.
But I don't know if it meant anything to her now, but like
to
in
you,
my little mind, it meant something. And I
boom. You're off to a good start. What's the third one?
Shit. What did I have at 21?
You had a chain. You had a car. Yeah.
I mean, I think at 21 we were already living in that house, and I think at 21 it was my sister's house, like the first house that she bought, and that she bought because I didn't buy it, but we like it was our house, and it was the first thing that we got here that we were homeowners, and we like
boom
did it together.
The American dream.
Yeah, and I lived in the basement, hooked up the basement.
Oh, you were living a good life, bro.
Yeah, and she hooked up the basement for me. So yeah, I think at 21 now. As far as
the crib,
objects,
the car, and a chain. Bro, you're a rapper,
I was
bro.
A pimp.
You're a rapper, bro. All right, I know you work out a lot, bro. What are your top 3 songs to work out to?
Oh, this is
top
funny.
3 all time. You never get tired of these.
Okay, this is funny. Time from Hans Zimmer.
No shit.
Yeah.
What is that from?
Inception.
Inception. Interesting. The Interstellar. Have you heard Interstellar?
That one's in there too.
No
in my
shit.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Dude, it's amazing.
And this song called "The Way" from Zach Hemsey. It's I work out to soundtracks, bro. That's what I like.
And then what? Give me one more.
What's the other? Radioactive by Imagine Dragons.
Boom. That's a good 3. All right, bro. I'm gonna give you a scenario. You wake up. right? You're asleep, right? You wake up. It's 3 a.m. You don't have any pants on. You're on a sidewalk in Portland, and you have a bag of money next to you with the words Bank of America written on the bag. What's the first thing you do?
Open the bag, check to see if it has.
He has money. It has a lot of money in it.
But what if it has like?
No. It's all good. It's all clear money.
Oh well, then I take that shit home.
You got no pants on. You've blacked out. You don't remember anything. You're in Portland.
Oh right, I'm in Portland and I don't know anybody in Portland. Where's my phone? I don't have a phone.
You have no pants, bro. You're in your underwear.
Shit, what do I do in Portland? I need to get to a phone. I'd probably go to a store to get to a phone. But I wouldn't tell anybody about the money yet. And if I can't get in contact with anybody, I would go to Bank of America and be like, listen, I found your money. I need a...
I found this.
I need a phone.
Like, bro, well, we have you blacked out robbing our bank.
That was me? I did not
How'd you
think
know it was me?
I did not think I did
pants?
that. I probably would because in my head, I was thinking, what can I do to keep this money?
Dude, that's a good
take
answer.
it back to Bank of America.
That's a good answer, bro. That's what I would do. All right, let's go to some current events. All right, we got the current events.
This shit.
Have you seen this shit, bro?
Yeah.
I just heard about this today. A friend of mine, a golden child, Denise Dorado, she's the one who told me about it.
That they're all traveling together.
Yeah, there's a caravan of like 1,500 to 4,000 people coming from Honduras that have crossed the borders or walking over to the U.S. due to like the conditions of life and death situations out there, and Trump's trying to start some.
I know
Migration plan.
He's using that rhetoric, yeah. Like this is perfect timing for him. He's like,
yeah.
I don't know if you heard. He even said it like in the press conference that he was having today. He was like, "This next election is gonna be about the caravan." You know what I mean? So,
Damn.
So he's basically gonna use that.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, all the rest of the candidates running, they're gonna be using that talking point too.
Yep.
It's like there's a caravan of illegals coming. This is the election. I bet you Cruz, especially in Texas with Cruz and Beto.
Yep.
You heard of Beto O'Rourke? I bet you that's definitely gonna be one of his.
And I think that's the mistake that people are doing a lot too. Is that they play into Trump's plan, and he's so good at playing the game. It's a game, bro. It's a popularity contest, and he's won. And he's uses the way he's figured out kind of a way to like fuck with people, and kind of do it his way. And damn, man, we can't.
I know.
There's that again, finding that balance. Finding that balance of what we can do, and not also letting. Like a lot of times, I think it's okay for us to be emotional about it, but we can't get emotional when we make our decisions because we don't make the best decisions. And I feel like a lot of it's gotten to such a boiling point because he's done so much, or at least the administration has, that people are just people start to become so like almost violent with their points. They start talking in a specific way to each other and yelling at each other.
I was just listening to that on NPR right now that we're very polarized, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's very polarized.
And I feel like we're already polarized. We can't afford to be more polarized. I think there's a different way to approach this, and we got to really find a way to kind of listen to both sides, and everybody's got to be able to let go a little bit.
Well, I don't know, man. Look, before the 2016 election, I was very much in the camp that I don't like the Democrats just as much as the Republicans.
Same.
Like, I don't, And
Same.
it's not that I was a Bernie bro, because there was a lot of things that I didn't agree about Bernie, but I at least thought he was the only one that was being honest.
Bro,
right?
that's the only reason I was so about it, because he led with his heart.
And then when you look at what he's done, like he wasn't perfect, but he's always been fighting for this. So it's like, at least,
Yeah.
But the thing, right, that I tell my friends, or when I've had this discussion about people who are like, well, I just didn't vote. I didn't vote. And it was like, maybe you could say that because your life is not on the line, But what if you're transgendered, or if you're one of these DACA kids, you're like, you want to not vote to prove a point because it doesn't affect your life at all. You're straight.
It's
you
selfish.
have kids. You're white.
Yeah. There's no risk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, fuck it. And you're like, some people would kill to have that ability of what you just threw away. There's a balance there. We're
and it's not that I think that Democrats do the right thing all the time too, but it's just it's just different. Like the agendas are different. The conservative agenda is really,
I think,
anti-immigration and anti.
Honestly though, bro, I think they all are, and they're just painting it to us different. One's more blunt about it, and one's not, because
but there's only one party who wants to.
But think about this,
Roe versus Wade. They want to overturn Roe versus Wade.
Of course, but Barack Obama also deported more immigrants than any other president in U.S. history.
Oh, and I agree with you.
And he's a Democrat, right? And then Hillary Clinton said, she voted to send back 250,000 boys and girls from El Salvador and all these impoverished countries, right? And these are all Democrats, right?
Clintons, the three strike, all that stuff.
A lot of the shit. So I just feel like the lines get blurred a lot, and it's just become about teams rather than solutions. I don't give a fuck who the team is for me. I'm like, let's come up with the best way to do it. I
completely agree with you with that. But when I step back and I look at everything, right? And it's not like I know, I've done extensive research, but I mean, there was a whole 2 weeks that I was sick, and I watched the CNN and Fox and Emmett for a whole week. But anyway, when I look back, right, it's always like, yeah, this team is bad, but this team is a little bit more hateful. It's a little bit more. So if it's like, if I'm voting for my personal benefit, I was like, I don't like this team, but this team is not gonna fuck with me as much as this team that wants all this other shit that it's
much more aggressively too.
Yeah. So it's like okay, yes, all right. But if there's only two choices, if there's only this guy or this guy,
that's the problem. Like we were stuck in this fucking crossroad with this two choice bullshit.
I mean, I agree with you, man. But by the time November 6th came, it was like you only had
I get it.
You had two choices.
But we got
not voting was voting for that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Shit, let's go on to a lighter subject.
Oh yeah, dude, did you know that?
Mega Millions hit $1 billion,
yeah,
bro.
I just sent this dude $2 to put me in a pool with capoeira.
Bro.
Capoeira.
What would you do if you got $1 billion, bro? What the fuck would you do? Man,
that was funny. I was just gonna ask you that.
$1 billion, tax free. I'm saying if I gave you right now for whatever reason, you find out I'm fucking related to Mark Zuckerberg, and he gave me $1 billion, $10 billion, and I give you $1 billion. What would you do, bro?
Well, I'm doing this real quick right now, so it might change around, but I would take just maybe $5 mil for my tribe. For me, I think that's all we need. Pay off my condo, buy my girl a house, set up for college and saves, and then I would take the rest, start a production company, a film production company, and a lobbying firm, a Latino lobbying firm to go influence legislation in Washington D.C.
Damn.
And then the rest I would just give away, man, charity stuff like that, or set up a philanthropic foundation.
Hey, bro, you got it figured out, bro. I'm gonna get a lobbyist group and go influence these motherfuckers. Yo, that's smart, bro.
Well, because that's how they win, man. It's
game.
just the corporations have lobbyists, and all the laws are for them, man.
Play the game, baby.
It's like you need a lobbyist on our side. You need some lobbyists.
Play the game. I agree, bro.
What about you, man? What would you do with $1 bill, man? $1 bill.
Damn, bro. I would. I don't think I would take more than half. I feel like half of it I would give away to specific things that are close to my heart, certain countries, El Salvador or whatever, Central American countries or whatever. And then I don't need that much for myself. I'm just gonna put shit in I'll probably, if anything, I would probably keep 10 mil to put it in an account that just generates interest, right? And the rest, of course, buy myself a fat ass crib, have a nice stable of cars. I love cars, bro.
And then you could be the executive producer of my film.
Bro, there you go, bro. I can executive produce. I can fund films, Latino films. No, and I would do the same thing. I would create a business around it, around my art. Fund myself, and the rest fucking give it away. I don't need that shit. Not even half. I wouldn't even need. I would need. You know what? If I really want to think about it, if I'm being realistic, I'd probably keep. I
know. I was just thinking. I was like, we say that shit now, but when
you
get a little bit of money,
350 mil, I'd keep. Right. It's not that much. It's $1 billion, bro. I'm being generous.
I'm just saying, in real life, you probably $1 billion. I want to keep 999,000.
But in a lot of ways, money influences the world, bro. You could probably change the world.
Yeah,
$1 billion, bro. Have you seen the 5-hour energy guy?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Started his own laboratory. Dude, yeah. He's like, I don't need shit. I mean, I still want to live good.
There's also a yogurt guy. A yogurt. I forgot what type of
he gave away shares to his company. To his employees. Yeah. What? Dannon?
Some other dude.
I don't know. But I feel like I don't need. You can live a fucking amazing life and not even use a quarter of that.
I agree.
Not even 10 million. 10 million, you could live an amazing life. Amazing life. If you play it smart.
I guess it's because humans are always worrying about their legacy, and you want to leave your wealth for your kids to leave them wealthy.
Whatever, man. That's why
they want to fight.
Sometimes it hinders them, man. Look at these. Look at.
I agree.
Look at Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates. They're like, nah, my kids ain't getting shit. They're getting a little bit, maybe, but not really. This is another one. I was gonna have this as a current event, but we're kind of out of time. Priscilla Chan. They started a foundation. Her and Chan Zuckerberg. This lady is amazing. If you guys haven't looked her up, she's an amazing woman. And they have an organization, and they're just kind of like they're giving away 90% of their wealth. I think 99% of their wealth to this foundation, and they're just trying to figure it out, man. Trying to become. They're like, if we want to leave our kids better if we want to leave the world better for our kids, like.
I didn't know that came out today.
No. It's been out for a little bit. We'll watch it after. We'll watch it after, but we're just, I want to sign off a little bit after this.
Cool.
You got anything left for the people? What like if you so
go,
like
go
one
watch
last
Bel
message.
Canto.
That too. Go watch Bel Canto.
Well, you can rent it now. You can rent it on demand. You can rent it or own it on demand. Bel Canto, Julianne Moore, Ken Watanabe.
That's tight. Fuck,
Yeah.
I love Ken Watanabe. He was in Inception.
Yeah, exactly.
Inception.
He's nice dude too, man.
Really?
Nicest guy ever, bro.
Julianne Moore got to work with all these people. That's fucking dope. I mean, of course, it always is, right? All the ones that have like quote unquote made it or at the top, always the nicest people ever. Usually,
That's funny, right? Yeah.
it's like of course the good guy makes it or the good girl makes it. You know,
and they're all it's like, see, that's what I'm saying. Like the details are different, but the dreams and the fears are always the same.
Yeah.
Even from like some guy up in the boondocks or in Texas or somewhere, like it's like we're different, but we're more like but like the point
we're more
saying
similar than different.
Yeah, like even then, someone like those name actors, like like they have like insecurities too. They're like worried about, and I'm like thinking in my head, I was like, damn, but you're an Academy Award winning. It's like, yeah, bro,
It never goes away.
Yeah,
It's maintenance on the ego, and I mean, other than of course, go check it out. And what's your Instagram? What's at what?
Oh shit! What? Eddie Martinez 11.
Eddie Martinez at 11. At Eddie Martinez 11. No, one last thing you would like. One last message that you would like to overall put this thing in, like that you would like, or a message that you would like to live by, or I don't know, whatever the fuck you want to say.
A message to the kids.
One last thing
to
that
the kids.
whoever, bro. One last thing.
Wash your hands after you go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. This is what I tell my kids all the time. Like for the millennials, right? For the
Yeah.
millennials, right? Because I feel like when I grew up, no one was telling you you're special, and so you grew up thinking you're not enough. Now everyone tells their kids that they're special. So this is what I tell my kids. I was like, yeah, you are special. You do have greatness inside of you, but so does that little dickhead that you don't like. Everyone has greatness, and everyone is special. You just gotta tap into it.
Boom. Yo, that's good, bro.
Yeah, that's great to tell your kids.
That was so good.
So does that little dick that you don't like.
But it also that again like that's that balance, that competitive nature that you're like, yo, it's just about becoming your best version.
Yeah.
You are great. You are special. You can do anything, but
so
you got to do work,
else.
bro. Yeah, anybody can do that shit too if they really put their mind to it.
Yeah, because now everyone just wants to be famous from YouTube.
No,
and they think
I think
it's
that's
so
the worst
cool.
thing that can happen to you too, man. I mean, a lot of
like
times
my kids do commercial, and I'm like, why do you want to do commercial? They're like, just famous. It's like from fucking commercials. Like commercials are just good for money. I was like, well, you want to be famous for something good that you did, not just for doing nothing.
Something you contributed to the world.
Yeah.
It's tough, of course, when you're a kid, but that's how do I put this? Like the value has been put in. And being famous or being popular, being well known, but in reality, and
it doesn't help that the Kardashians,
she's the most famous woman on the planet. Who was more famous?
She gets to be with the president. She got to do a good thing.
It's crazy
because
it's ridiculous. We're living in a crazy world, strange times, bro. Well, boom, episode 69.
This was fun, man.
Thank you for coming on, brother.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Dude, you're welcome back whenever you want, man. I hope you guys
let's go to Joshua Tree.
Enjoyed it. We're gonna go to Joshua Tree, eat some plants, explode our brains. Not really. It doesn't really explode your brains. If anything, it just makes you think more clearly. I'm totally down though. By the way, I'm planning a trip in a bit, so we'll talk about it after.
Cool.
All right, guys. We'll be back next week. Thanks for tuning in. Eddie Martinez, now the dog is laying out.
Carriage right now.
Yeah, thanks.
Do it. How do you do it?
I'll do it right now, bro.
You're gonna do it.
And that's it. See you guys next week.